So I was very pleasantly surprised to actually watch this video because I've made many tweets in the past where people have taken a knee-jerk reaction to it and absolutely blown their fucking mind and just gone the absolute worst case scenario of my tweets, which is a problem because I also wrote a tweet, and I'll have it on the screen, where when you read a tweet, do you read it in my voice or do you read it in your own voice? And if you read it in my voice, in what perception of me do you read that tweet? Believe it or not, people have an inner voice, right? I have one, some people don't. That's weird to me. But it's a very important question because how you perceive somebody's writing is how you envision them as a person. So that's why you have that knee-jerk reaction. So obviously I made a tweet about Jujutsu Kaisen. It had definitely a mixed bag of responses. And then I got shown this video. And honestly, I was really surprised. And the reason why I was surprised is because for once, somebody looked at my tweet and actually talked about it as if this was 2014 to 16 anime community. What I mean by that is you could talk about the big three manga back in 2013 to 2016, and you could talk about One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach. And if you didn't like a chapter, or if you hated something, or, you know, if you were King of Lightning and you thought Toshiro was mid, you know what you'd do? You'd make your video glazing or not glazing, and then what would happen is everyone would get into a Google Hangouts on a YouTube stream, and you would have a conversation. And it would be filled with, okay, why do you like this chapter? And then you'd say your reason, and everyone would either laugh or go, oh, you're crazy, bro, or whatever. But like, it was like a fun interaction. Everyone got to hear everyone's points, and it wasn't dogpiling. And even if you disagreed with someone, there was always a live stream every single week with all the creators getting involved and talking about what they liked and what they didn't like, and had a debate, and it was respectful. And I feel like now when you write on Twitter, you're either dogpiled or you've had a video made about you completely turning your argument into something that it's not. For example, me talking about the Boruto character designer, right? Where his name's Nishio and I said he shouldn't work again, right? And obviously that's like very hyperbolic. It's obviously like it's over exaggerated, right? But like I showed just a funny meme picture as clickbait, right? You could call it clickbait. I wasn't talking about the specific screenshot that I was using. I was just using it as like a haha funny meme. Obviously I got a lot of shit from a filthy little bitch on YouTube, and he came to Japan and he didn't want to pull up. So I mean, hey, you know, but that aside, that's the difference, right? So I was greeted with this video and I was generally surprised, and I want to react to this in its own sense, right? Because it comes off as a bit of like, you had me at the first half because he says my name wrong, and people that usually say your name wrong seems to be like an intentional disrespect. But
this James Hansen guy was in my mentions and mentioned something, but this is like the main issue, right? So this is a specific scene where it is the red tide, right? Choso.
Context. This scene pissed me off. Like, JJK, the 2 episodes completely fine. Who the fuck is messaging me? Chotomate. Yeah, I was in the cinema and I watched it on TV. I enjoyed the episodes. I just hated this cut. I hated it. It really, genuinely, my eyes were starting to ache and I was getting mild headaches with watching this scene. And I'm entitled to say that. That's just, you cannot tell me, or you cannot deep dive into telling me how I feel about something on a physical level. You just can't. I'm not saying this person does. I'm saying Twitter. Like, if I say this gave me an eyesore, I'm literally telling you this fucking hurt my eyes. This annoyed me because I was hoping that it would like get cleaned up in the TV version. It just didn't. You know, it's whatever. And then I actually had a few directors not only tweet but also like. I had some animators like the tweet too. And then I've got all these random fucking Mappa Sakuga dumbass retards saying that my opinion's irrelevant and blah 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 blah. It's like, okay, cool. And I got harassed for, I say harassed, but like I just got mentioned diffed for quite a while. And yeah, we'll talk about it, right?
So, like, this is the allegory where Misogynist Zenin Naoya is about to get drowned in the blood of all the women that he was misogynistic to, portrayed by Choso's blood. That's what some people are saying. Some people are straight up saying, do you guys think that Gege is literally cooking with an allegory using the title blood as the victims of the women that Naoya has been victimizing, but it's payback? I think that's kind of fucking crazy. Let's read the post. There are many great scenes in JJK and scenes like this.
True.
This to me is an eyesore. I know Sakuga Twitter loves this shit, or anything Mappa prints.
That's true. Anything that Mappa does, it doesn't matter if it's good or bad, right? I mean, I could throw examples, fuck it, right? But like, anything that Mappa does is praised to high heaven. There is an absolute over-dramatic stock in Mappa product. That's just the reality of it, right? Like, I think anyone can agree with that. It just is, right? If I told you, guys, let's see, Kagurabashi is being animated by Mappa. How many people do you think are going to start jumping for joy saying this is going to be the peak of the decade? Come on.
So this isn't for you. Yeah, I think that the nature of Studio Mappa and Jujutsu Kaisen, right? Even if there are flaws here and there, it's so minor or insignificant that most people are just gonna glaze no matter what, right? There's definitely this brand loyalty and recognition, and people are gonna be like, nope, it's gonna be perfect no matter what. I do acknowledge that. I think I do that shit myself too, where I feel peer pressure to be like, yeah, this is peak, even though maybe it wasn't. You enjoy what you enjoy, but to me, this is Mappa case of doing more than needed. This is...
I agree.
The COD MLG. We bring it.
You know those MLG videos where it's like, oh my god, I got a triple, whatever the fuck it is. Just like a bunch of like hit markers and like fucking Snoop Dogg hitting the fucking like the weed, doing the fucking gif like that with a bunch of fucking like marijuana plants everywhere. It's like, it's too much, right? Like, do you need that? No, you don't need that, right? It's like that you can have too much of a good thing. You can. Right? There's a meme aspect to it, but like realistically, it's just over fucking stimulating and it's too fucking much, right? And that's what I meant. That was, again, when I tweet, it's me giving an expression that I feel at that time expresses the mentality of what I'm trying to think of, right? So I think, you know, do people understand that, right? Like, that's what I think overstimulation is. Does a COD montage video need to have fucking boom bass, fucking 10 billion hit markers, with a distorted kid screaming, fucking Snoop Dogg doing the fucking drop it like it's hot with a bunch of fucking smoke weed every day, fucking marijuana plants like all around the fucking side of it? You just don't need that, right? It's the purpose is that it's supposed to be an eyesore. It's supposed to be deep fried memes, as some would call them. So I was watching this and I was like, well, this is too much, right? And I didn't know quite how to express it other than let's just say COD MLG, because it's just emphasizing how I feel.
And then in Call of Duty, bro, we bring a Major League Gaming videos of anime. Overstimulation. An LO's wet dream. Can someone explain to me what an LO is? Remember?
So what I meant by an LO's wet dream is that whoever's doing this scene, and like, again, I'm not calling, and I hate when people make assumptions about comments that I make. I don't like that. I said what I said, I mean what I mean, right? Don't add extras to it to fit your narrative about how you perceive how I say something. So when I say this is an LO's wet dream, I'm not saying that they're lazy, right? I think anyone that does animation, anyone that can even draw a frame, especially key animators, their corrections, amazing, right? But people need to understand, I'm not calling any animator lazy. I'm just saying that it is an LO's wet dream because they don't need to go as hard. They can just like do rough drafts. Have you ever seen an LO rough draft, right? I've seen many of Bleach's LOs, right? They're never on model. They're always like Ichigo doesn't even look like Ichigo. If you look at Murata's storyboarding, it's basically like just virtually, I'm not going to say stick figures, that's disrespectful, but like it's very extremely like minimal. Like you can just about kind of see who's on the storyboard, right? You've seen them, right? Some people go hard on their storyboards, like the Evangelion guy I think goes hard on his storyboards. I think Noriyuki Ebe for the original Bleach series, he He had a very middle ground storyboard. Taguchi has a nice storyboard. But everyone has different storyboards. Some people like to put more art in the storyboard. Some people like to do sketches, and that's completely fine. The point I'm trying to make is that for a scene like this, whoever's chosen to do this scene, whoever's been given the cuts for, like, usually a PR will come up to you and say, hey, you're doing this scene, and you're like, okay. It's very easy for them to be like, you know what, I don't need to do too much. I don't need to draw to perfection. I can just do a sketch here, sketch there, send it off to the key animator. Right? Because it doesn't matter if you make a mistake in the line art, because it's supposed to be fucked up anyway. So that's why I'm saying it's an LO's wet dream, because they don't need to try and even put anything on model. They can just, like, what's going to take more time? Me drawing a high detailed character amongst, let's say, 30 cuts, or me drawing squiggles. I know it's a bit of an over exaggeration, but hear me out. Squiggles over the course of 30 cuts. Which is going to take me quicker, right? And a layout. James, draw me Ichigo doing a Bankai. It's basically like, here's the rough sketch of it. It gets sent to, like, the key animator. He's like, yeah, right, like, this is fine. I like this. Can you touch it up? You get it back. You touch it up. You give it back to the key animator again, and he finalizes it with a neat drawing, basically. So it's just basically a rough layout. Cindy did say that Kano's LO did need corrections in the faces, but again, he's an animator. He wasn't key animating, right? He was just an animator, an action director, so to say, or an action animator, right? His job is to be an action animator, but his models are still very much pretty fucking clean. So, but what I'm basically saying is what's going to take more time? Obviously, the more detailed ones, right? So that's when I say it's an LO's wet dream, is because it's that they have chosen, or whoever the director is chosen, that you could just go basically epileptic fit on this shit, right? So that's what I meant by that.
I'm just a fucking Sakuga monkey. I'm trying to understand this, but it's an LO's wet dream because they can't blast smudges, smears, and low quality modeling for the sake of it's moving so quick you don't need to notice or care. Layout. Okay,
you don't need to care about
the
art.
Person that basically is
right, like the character model art. You don't need to care because it's going to be moving so fast. Nobody's going to really notice. That's the point. Am I wrong in saying that?
Behind constructing this layout scene, and they can just basically get away with blasting smudges, smears, and low quality modeling for the sake of it's moving so quick you don't need to notice or care. So the main argument here stems from laziness, right?
Again, I didn't say that. I didn't fucking say it. And to his credit, he does kind of change the approach, but like I didn't fucking say that. And I don't like when people actually, like, this is a constant fucking thing on Twitter. Now, obviously, is it a me problem? I mean, I don't know. Like, sometimes, like, I'll write a tweet and I'll actually ask, like, Grok, can you make this more concise? Just so people don't get the wrong idea. And people still fucking get the wrong idea. It's genuinely fucking annoying. Because it's like, it doesn't matter how concise I try and be, or how much I try and express something. I've just come to the point now where if I want to talk about something in a critical manner, heaven forbid what it would be like. God, could you imagine me talking about Bleach when chapters were coming out? And me complaining about a chapter? Well, no, I've got a Bleach audience. But imagine I read Naruto, right? Now. And I had the same criticisms that I did back then. I'd be fucking jumped because nobody has like the critical thought of just letting somebody have their own opinions towards something without it being malicious. Because I hate this concept just because it's This is like really what pisses me off. Just because something has just come out doesn't mean somebody is grifting for attention, right? People bring up criticisms of a series because heaven forbid that series is fucking just come out or that episode has just dropped. Why would I talk about this episode in 3 months time, 5 months time, 10 months time, in a year's time? Why the fuck would I do that? Because it's not on my mind. It's not. But they'll say a slur, they'll say N-words, can't enjoy things anymore, and it's always people that want to go against the grain. Like, okay, cool, right? Let's just accept anything that fucking comes out, right? Like, we cannot fucking say anything negative about anything, right? Brainless. Absolute fucking brainless. Why do people always say this when something cool drops? Because it just dropped. Because it's on the timeline. Because it's on my TV. It's on the streaming service. Oh, don't watch it then if you don't like it. Well, how do I know if I'm not going to like it if I don't fucking watch it? Right? Now, if I get to the point where I've watched 60% of Boruto and I've come to the same conclusion that I'm not going to like this series, what's the point that the next 40% that I watch is something I'm going to like? I'm not, so you just drop it, right? Oh, well, you haven't watched it all to give it a chance. Oh, fuck off, man. It's like the brain isn't firing the fucking neurons, bro. It does my head in. And I'm going to... And Anime Blue, please stick around because I'm going to talk... Actually, I'll talk about it now, right? Here's the thing, right? Because I say it here when I say, I know Sakuga Twitter loves this shit. You know what the difference is between, and again, I'm just using you as an example, Anime Blue. You want to know what the difference is between someone like me, the casual audience, and Sakuga tards? You know what the difference is? People don't know motherfucking animators. People don't know directors. They don't know animator names. I'm talking to the casual anime viewer. This is not your bubble, right? This is not your Sakuga bubble. Oh, well, if you look at Kano and the way he does things, like, no one gives a fuck besides you. Because you're invested in either that animator or the animation sphere. So when I say, Mappa have this thing, or Mappa have this trait where they do this, or the Boruto character designer. You want to know why I say these things? Is one, because one, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus and give anyone harassment, right? And two, nobody knows who these fucking people are. The first thing, if you bring someone in watching anime for the first time, or maybe they're just a casual watcher, do you really think when they watch an anime, they're going to sit there and be like, yeah, that's a TNK. That's a TNK shot right there. Yeah, don't fucking like. No, they're not gonna fucking say that. They're just gonna be like, I don't like that. It's fucking shit. What's Piro thinking? That's what they're gonna say. And that's why I specifically said I know Sakuga Twitter are gonna love this because they're invested. They're invested in the animator. They're invested in Mappa. They're invested in the production. This is the mindset. I'm not here to have a critique about an animator I don't fucking know, and I'm not going to have a critique about a director I don't fucking know, because I'm just watching the show. I'm watching JJK, and I know that it's done by Mappa. That's all I fucking know, and that's all I give a fuck about. Stop putting people in the same fucking categories as you people, and stop with this fucking complex that, oh, because I know X animator, or I know this animator, and I know their works, and I know their history, and I've looked at their Sakuga Boro. Stop putting everyone in the same pocket that they should also know what you know, because they fucking don't. 99.5% of people don't know who the fuck you are talking about. And this is what I mean. Who the fuck? You want to know who criticized me on Twitter? People that fucking knew this animator. You proved my point. You have investment into this person. You have investment into the production committee. You have an investment into every single person that worked on the staff listing. These are the only people that went balls to the wall on my comments. And this tweet wasn't for you. This tweet was for the average person that turned on their TV, turned on Crunchyroll, turned on Netflix, whatever the fuck they watched it on, sat down and watched it. This is for that 99.5% people who are just fans of the fucking series, man. And people didn't fucking get that. Because every person that's a hate comment, and I could do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'll save you the time, because you don't deserve that. I could go on that tweet right now. I'll go to every single quote tweet, every single reply, and the only people fucking criticizing me are people that knew this motherfucker's name. Oh, well, you just don't understand X, Y, and Z's style. Okay, cool. I don't know who this geezer is. No one gives a fuck.
Like, this scene's concept and design is to make it so dynamic that we can get away with spamming these animation techniques to the point where people will think it's peak, but actually it's lazy. That seems to be like where the core
I didn't say
is.
that. it's
There
not
are
the
many
core argument
instances
because
of
I didn't
motion
say
done
that.
right, like in One Punch Man Season 1 or Mob
I agree.
Psycho, because it's constant with storyboarding.
I agree.
The camera is having a seizure and the character model is all over the place. It hurt my eyes in the cinema, and even on TV, it didn't seem to help. Yeah, there were a lot of people bringing in extra context of the TV screening as well as the theater screening.
I think they both look bad.
The first episode was double release, but it also was a combination of...
But then again, that could have been my environment as well.
The movie theater, right? They did like a recap of the end of season 2 shit and then season 3 premiere, and apparently this cut was treated much better in theaters compared to the TV one, right? It's this type of mappa I don't like. But it's Twitter. Anything that's 500 FPS is classed as good. When there's more than frames that make something good, I want to make it clear, this is my pet peeve with mappa, and not Jujutsu Kaisen episode as a whole. Just occasional moments that are becoming more frequent to them.
I think that's fair.
And you know what?
Occasional moments.
I read this, and I tweeted this, right? As an amateur monkey trying to understand Sakuga, I wonder if this is super sweaty criticism or rage bait. I quote retweeted James Hansen. James Hansen, by the way, for just context sake, who is this guy? He has a YouTube channel. He makes a lot of Bleach content. This is a YouTube channel. Like, he's not like a random person just talking shit. It seems like he has a sizable community and has made content and has talked about mainly Bleach, but understands animation maybe more than the average person.
I know a bit.
In this post right over
Comes
here,
with the job, right?
James Hansen's replying, here's the part where I said he was in my mentions. I didn't like it. It's really not that deep. There's a lot of sentiment feeling the same, and even directors and Japanese natives responding relatively the same. It's all about preference. It's only blown up because fanboys be fanboys.
And it's me.
I think he's valid for that, right?
And I was shocked. When he said I was actually shocked. I was like, oh shit. I was like, all right, this isn't, because last time this happened, it was a Sakuga tard, like a hardcore like Sakuga tard, that made videos on a yearly basis saying 23 and still a virgin. Like, nobody needs to know. But anyway, yeah, I was generally shocked. I was expecting like abuse, and you can disagree with me, absolutely disagree with me, right? Say, oh, you know, I don't think you're giving it a fair shake, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. But be respectful.
It's a subjective opinion. That the entire episode as a whole was not shit.
No, it wasn't.
Nitpicking by providing his subjective experience.
Because that's the thing that stood out to me.
Watching this scene, and to be honest, it doesn't feel like rage bait. I think that this is his personal preference, and he is obviously going into the arena where it's sensitive, right? It's a mappa product. It's Jujutsu Kaisen.
When I tweet, I don't look at it as this is a sensitive issue. Like, I don't look at Boruto, or I don't look at JJK, or I don't look at Chainsaw Man and think, oh, I'm gonna be edgy when I tweet this. Genuinely, like, I shit you not, I just be tweeting. Like, if I have the thought in my head, I just tweet it, right? The hindsight comes afterwards, to be honest with you. I very much impulsively tweet. Now, if I do like a big long format tweet, usually I take time to think about it. But with things like this, I just was talking about how I feel.
It should be celebrated no matter what because it's peak, right? That's the narrative. So to go against that grain is brave, and I'm sure he's getting fucking cooked for it, right?
I was, yeah.
Where is his people, bro? I only saw some Japanese.
There was a director I literally retweeted, Deli-chan, who worked on Bleach, was liking it. A few other animators were liking it too that I can't remember off the top of my head. But like on Japanese Twitter, they were saying the exact same thing, like, this was too much of a headache. Yeah, don't be ignorant. Go do the research.
But purposeful ignorance?
In fact, you could just click on my profile and see that I retweeted someone. So, like, don't fucking lie. I hate that. Like, don't fucking lie. I know you might think, like, you're being funny or snarky. Just don't fucking lie.
And here's my take with it, right? Let's look at the video itself. So this is my reaction for that video, that episode. And you know what?
Yeah, here we go.
Play this clip.
This is his
just
reaction.
Play this part on the YouTube reaction part and just kind of see how I felt about it. Choso! Yo!
No disrespect to him. He's not the only person. This is the same reaction everybody does. Yo, this is peak! Not a fucking clue what's going on screen, by the way. This is my point. Now, he admits it. He 100% admits... Listen.
This part, holy... Impact frames, kinda? The lighting within the tunnels. I loved it. So fucking sick before the title where the blood shows up.
That's fine. Like this, like I understand what's going on here.
I tried to watch this scene alone a couple days ago to try to figure out how I really felt about it. But I want you to really focus on the soundtrack part, okay? He's nutting!
Nothing's going on in the brain. You can see.
Yeah, yeah. Narrator, tell me, Tengen-sama. What am I looking at?
What am I looking at? This. See, when you watch my Bleach reactions, right? Let's be honest. They're not like Nicholas Light, or they're not like. I only said him because, like, obviously, like, he's got a rememberable name. There's a lot of reactors, and it's just like not fucking working, right? My brain's not working. But there's a lot of people that like generally high fucking energy. They're very fucking high energy. I've experienced Bleach for many years, right? I've watched this series, reread this series, done mad videos on this series since the dawn of fucking time. I'm not gonna fake those reactions because this isn't new to me. I'm just happy to be a part of what I'm watching. And you can see that, like, my reactions, they're not exactly over the top dramatic because, one, I'm a 30-year-old fucking geezer, right? I'm not, you know, I don't feel like I need to fake reactions. You can feel that reaction. You can see soul in the eyes when I watch this series, right? Not to say that he's not. I'm just saying that there's many people who will just scream, yo, because it is the first YouTuber instinct to do it at any point that has a lot happening. Like, a fucking lot. It doesn't need to matter what the fuck is happening on screen, as long as there's something that keeps that TikTok fucking mentality, keep fucking dopamine, serotonin boost going up. That's what you're getting. You're getting the reaction of the serotonin and the dopamine, right? That's what you're getting, because as he said, when he sits down and he rewatches it, he realizes that after that dopamine and that serotonin has dropped down, he's now looking at it being like, did I actually understand what the fuck I was watching here? And unfortunately for me and my reactions, I see that, like, even on a first term basis level, even my first impressions to things, even when I was seeing like Uri versus Mayuri, like, I'm not screaming yo, like, because like it's like it's hype, mate, but it's not screaming at the rooftops level, you know what I mean? Like, let's you're not watching anime like that. You're just not. You're putting it on for the camera. Like, it's a bit corny, but again, lots of YouTubers do that.
What am I looking at? The narrator got me confused for a second. I was looking at the cursed. That's another thing too. Tengen-sama as a narrator describing what was going on and the action happening. My mind was just getting distracted really hard during this scene. Energy shit with the blood stuff. Okay, until their cursed energy dries up, they cannot die from blood loss. Okay, go back again.
Brother's baffled.
What am I looking at? Blades. This. Yeah. Blood blades. This is also so cool. The way that Naoya is fighting against the blood, I'm hyping it up on. I think there's a part of this where the soundtrack, it's so hectic. There's a lot of anxiety and tension.
I would agree with that.
Building up
to some degree.
Things are just going dun 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 dun, and you're getting flooded by it. So the reason that I bring this soundtrack,
you know, it's a speed when you have to rewind. Absolutely, 100%.
Here is to kind of play up my excuse of, I think the concept and the purpose of this scene is to induce chaos. You know what I'm saying? Like, I you know, the scene is, therefore, if we tension and just like the buildup of all this chaotic elements, therefore if we see this section with things just popping the fuck off, right, all of these, you know, the spamming of the blurring, the spamming of all this shit, right, of the Elo's wet dream, maybe that was the intention. But
and again, if that is the intention, if it's the directors and the animators' intention, it doesn't mean that it that the result was successful in its execution. And that's another thing. It's like, oh, the director intended it to be like this, so it's like, no, it's not okay. Because just because I attempt to make a good YouTube video every time I upload doesn't mean I made a good YouTube video. It's my intent to be a good content creator. It's my intent to do lots of things. I just sometimes don't succeed at those things, and that's fine. Genuinely, it's fine to just not work out the way you intended it.
Even if that was the intention, right? I think as the average viewer, it is hard to understand what's going on, right? It is
as
very
the
chaotic.
average, as the average viewer. As I said, that was my intent. I'm talking on behalf of the 99%.
It's genuinely hard to keep up with. The compositing, is it questionable? Like the way that it was all brown, orange, red, dark in color, and things just popping off, combined with Tengen-sama's narration and the soundtrack, it adds up.
I would never use subtitles as an excuse, because obviously we're not Japanese, so we're going to read the subtitles. And I do feel like with a lot happening, I think it's very understandable to go back and see what's actually happening, because subtitles can be very distracting. So I don't think that's... for me anyway, I would never make the criticism of like, oh, there's too much explaining going on with what, because that's not the fault of like the director or the animator. That's not the fault of anyone really. That's just subtitles, right? That's just language diff. Anime Blue James, curious, would it be better to say you don't like blue? Please, you are misunderstanding what I just said. I don't care. I don't care about Seshimo's production. I don't care about Tomishita or whatever the fuck is doing. I can barely say the Bleach production committee fucking director's name, right? Bro, I'm not in that world, right? I don't have an opinion on whose production is whose, or whose pipeline is whose. I don't. That is not my world. That's your world, right? And you should stop talking to people like they understand that world. I don't know who that is. And you should stop expecting people to know what that is or who that is. If you want to be a sakugatard, if you want to be a fan of animation and you want to follow all these animators, understand fundamentally this is a extremely niche subcategory that only you and a select number of people understand. And you should never expect anybody else, the 99% of anime consumers, to know who the fuck you are talking about, right? Because you asked me that question and I'm like, I don't know how to answer that because I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Oh, this person's pipeline. I don't even know who this person is. And I'm a little bit more knowledgeable than the average person. It'd be absolutely ridiculous to expect everybody to know the pipeline and the production of every single fucking person. It'd be ridiculous.
Up to this experience where things are just happening, it's going over my head, my gut instinct is I don't know what's going on, and at that point, is that a failure?
Yeah, to some people
you know
it is. Yeah,
if the average retard,
you're not gonna encapture everybody, right? Bleach has had a lot of criticisms. People still say Bleach is a still frame series. Core 2, we can have that argument to some degree, right? Like, if you want to split hairs about Core 2, sure, I'll give the benefit of just giving the fucking benefit, right? I really do not care enough to fight with you whether you think Bleach Core 2 is a slideshow or not. But you're not going to sit there and tell me the whole Thousand Year Blood War is a slideshow, because you're just being disingenuous and you're actively being a hater.
Watching this can't keep up with whatever's going on. They're confused. Is that a failure or is that a skill issue? It's a skill issue. And when I say a failure, I mean, like, should an animator, when they're making these cuts, have such that the storyboarding, everything about it is coherent such that the average monkey...
Well, it's not always the animator too, because it can be a compositing diff, it can be a lighting diff, it can be effects diff, right? There's many different layers of which, like, you could remove one aspect and it could make everything look better, right? I think in this case it was a lot of different things, truth be told. Like, I understood the vision. Like, you're watching, I forgot the character's name, but you're watching him escape this red blood, and the camera is trying to be behind this artificial concrete pillars that are holding, like, the highway or the motorway or whatever the fuck you call it in America, holding it up from underground, and the camera's panning behind it. That's why you get those black, like, voomf, 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 because the camera's passing through them. And I understood the vision, I understood the mindset. For me personally, it didn't execute, right? But that concept, that idea, my eyes didn't like that. That's one aspect of this whole scene.
Like myself can watch and understand that was fucking hype. They don't need to understand why it was hype, right? They just need to see and have a gut feeling that great. But I'm not gonna lie, when watching this sequence, it was very hectic. It was very chaotic. My cope is that was the intention of the design with the soundtrack and the narration and everything about this. And then
it didn't
add
stick
on
with
the
everyone.
fact that there is a different version, right? The blurring, like the
I don't really care about the
and
different
TV
version.
And that's why I think all this comes together.
I think it's just cope. I think both versions were bad.
James Hansen, he might be cooking. It is a nitpick.
I mean, there's no might be. It's just I just said a sentiment that is a personal appearance, and if you agree with that's cool. If you disagree with it, you don't. You know, and I'm gonna nitpick about like the whole cooking thing. Like, I appreciate the compliments, I do, but I just feel like it shouldn't have been a big deal of a tweet to begin with, right? It was just like I felt like it was such a normie tweet, so like it wasn't my intention to cook, you know.
It is a subjective preference.
Yep.
But I don't think that he is doing this shit in order to grift, in order to be
what?
contrarian.
I don't even get paid on fucking Twitter that much. I got $30 fucking dollars, I think. Bro, what's there to grift? I'm not liked online in general by the Sakuga community as a whole. So like, I gain nothing from this type of tweet.
I think it's actually brave that someone could actually challenge the status quo and give a compelling argument as to why this specific scene didn't feel right.
I appreciate that you think I challenged the status quo, but it's never my intention to make challenges like that. I'm more of an industry guy. I like to challenge the industry. I don't really want to challenge animation, especially animation politics, be it like Sakugaboro people and you don't know this director, but I much prefer to be a contrarian with the industry rather than my personal likes with anime, you know, if that makes sense.
You know, and a lot of other people, right, like Watanabe style, right, Keiichiro Watanabe, right, the person that did it, he was also, I think, responsible for the Maki cut in season 3 opening, where Maki's dancing and kind of spinning around as the flames are just like, you know, exploding, and I was like, yo, that looks like the Mahoraga from like Shibuya
but I know what that looks like.
Style is very subjective.
I know what that is.
Compositing definitely could have, you know, looked better to make it easier to follow, but also that's probably the point, that it's chaotic like this. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much it.
So I actually wanted to make a video about this because I actually just wanted to kind of give my appreciation that you can actually make videos like this and you can critique someone or you can talk about somebody's take without being disrespectful. And that is something that I have missed very greatly in like the 2016's era of the anime and manga community, that you just don't get this anymore. There's such like a segmentation of like opinions, and it's either you're for something or against something. And if you're against the thing that I like, then you are deemed as a bad fucking piece of shit human being, that opinions that you have should never see the light of day again. And yeah, it's just I want, you know, in my own weird way, I wanted to promote this, you know, for any content creators to push this type of approach to, I mean, even if you're not a content creator, just like a Twitter person or a Reddit person or a Discord person, this should be the approach that you take, taking a step back, thinking about it, not jumping to conclusions, not adding in your own perspectives as a fact, but, you know, just you know, I think this is very healthy content creation, and we like to complain a lot online about the industry and about drama online, but like I want to kind of be like, hey, this is a great example of pushing a discussion, because this is a discussion and I like it. So I'm going to catch you motherfuckers later. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. I'm going to catch you motherfuckers later. You guys, of course, have this fine day. Hansen as always, people. Peace out.